everyone, this is your girl Samantha here, and I wanted to provide an update on the case where the 69-year-old grandmother was murdered inside of a church in Baltimore. Apparently, the suspect, his DNA linked him to the crime, and they said DNA linked suspect to killing a volunteer inside East Baltimore church. So, Baltimore police announced an arrest in the killing of a volunteer found dead last month inside Southern Baptist Church. Evelyn Player, age 69, got to church early on November 16 to let some contractors in and get started on her duties there. Soon after, a maintenance worker found her body inside a bathroom, police said. According to charging documents obtained by the 11 News I-Team, Player suffered from multiple stab and cut wounds. The documents state Player also had multiple defense wounds to her hands. Baltimore Police Commissioner Michael Harrison said Thursday that investigators on Wednesday arrested Manzi Smith Jr., age 62, on first and second degree murder, first and second degree assault, and weapons charges. Harrison said DNA evidence led investigators to arrest the suspect. According to charging documents, a man's DNA profile was found on the victim's body as well as at the scene that identified Smith. Science produced evidence to make us pretty confident that Mr. Smith was the perpetrator of this crime, Harrison said. The evidence collected goes through a number of procedures to analyze it and to either identify or refute that somebody is the suspect, and that's why it took a while. It was more important for us to do this right. The commissioner said it's unknown whether Player knew the suspect. There's no information right now to support that there was a relationship between the victim and the perpetrator, Harrison said. Harrison said the suspect has been convicted of crimes in the past for which he served time. The 11 News I-Team reported Smith was previously on the sex offender registry. According to court records obtained by the 11 News I-Team, Smith was convicted of first-degree rape in 1991 and was sentenced to 30 years in prison. According to the Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, Smith served his sentence and was put on mandatory supervision because he was denied parole by the Maryland Parole Commission. The mandatory supervision ended in October 2021, and MDPSCS says Smith was not under supervision at the time of the alleged killing. In 2014, he was convicted of robbery after snatching a woman's purse and stealing her phone and bank card 2 years prior. He pleaded not criminally responsible and was sent for evaluation, where he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. He was eventually found to be competent to stand trial and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. The sentence start date was 2012. The day after her killing, Bishop Dante Hickman told 11 News that Player was always helping the community. She helped to feed this community, she helped to vaccinate this community, test them when they were sick, to provide flu shots, helping with Hopkins and others who came to the church. She was a willing worker, Hickman said. Hickman presided over Player's funeral Wednesday. While he is glad someone was held accountable for her killing, he continues to grieve. I'm very elated that someone was brought to justice that we might be able to prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. Evelyn Player did not deserve to die, Hickman said Thursday. Hickman told 11 News he doesn't recognize Smith but had this to say to him. I wish you had gotten to know Evelyn. I wish you had gotten to know the love of Christ and you could love yourself enough that you would not have committed this kind of hate to someone else. I pray that the grace of God will cover him through what he's going to have to go through to exact justice in his life. Hickman said the whole congregation is struggling with loss and grief. He said Player always had a way to make you smile, and he knows she's resting a little more at peace. There's a void for all of us, but as people of faith, we believe that death is not the end, that we trust God for eternal life and eternal peace. And we know that Evelyn has a great reward, and she's resting. Quite frankly, better than we are on this side, Hickman said. Hickman said he's grateful to everyone who made finding a suspect in Player's death a priority. This Player is what we call in Baltimore a foot soldier. She loved her community, she loved her church, and she served her community with passion. And as some church folks would say, Evelyn loved like Mary and served like Martha. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott said Thursday, yet because of the heinous act of violence, East Baltimore lost this kind soul. While we are all affected by all murders, the fact that this one occurred in a house of worship made it more shocking to the conscience, Harrison said. What we know in a city with over 300 homicides a year is that every life lost to violence is an unspeakable tragedy. The tragic killing of a senior in a church quite candidly shocked the conscience of our community. Our seniors and our babies should be off limits, Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby said. A vigil and crime walk were held outside the church on November 18th. People gathered to sing hymns, say prayers, and lovingly honor Player. The state offered a $100,000 reward for information in the case. Governor Larry Hogan tweeted a statement saying, "We are glad that there has been an arrest for the murder of Evelyn Player. Justice must be served. We continue to keep Evelyn's loved ones in our prayers." Harrison thanked the community for the many tips that investigators received, but he said no tips directly led to the arrest. Wow. So rest in peace, Evelyn Player. This is extremely appalling what this degenerate monster did to her, Manzi Smith Jr. And I have my own theories of what happened there and how they got his DNA, but I just don't want to talk about it. It's just too disturbing. The whole situation is disturbing. So let me know what you guys think about this case, and I'm going to continue to follow it. Hopefully Manzi Smith Jr. will have his day in court and serve a nice long lengthy sentence so that he'll become someone's bitch and will never ever harm another woman or child again. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.